Tonight, the unthinkable has happened. The unbreakable, world-famous Israeli Iron Dome, the air defense system the United States spent billions of dollars building, the system we were told could stop every rocket, every missile, every threat headed for Israeli soil, has been reduced to nothing but scrap metal. Right now, as you listen to this, the city of Tel Aviv is burning. Iran has unleashed a barrage of attacks unlike anything the world has ever seen, 50 consecutive waves of strikes, hypersonic missiles flying at 14 times the speed of sound slamming into the heart of Israel's most populated city, a never-before-seen weapon the Iranians are calling the extreme beam bomb, laying waste to military and civilian infrastructure alike, no target off limits, no defense capable of stopping it. The entire world is frozen in shock. The mainstream media is scrambling to catch up. The White House is in full, unmitigated panic mode. Because what we're watching right now isn't just another rocket attack from Gaza, not just another minor skirmish on the Lebanese border. This is Iran's full, unfiltered, unbridled military power on full display. This is the moment the Middle East's decades-old balance of power was shattered forever. This is the moment that could drag the United States into a full-scale global war. If you want to stay ahead of the curve on this breaking, earth-shattering news, if you want the unfiltered truth that the mainstream media is too afraid to tell you, if you refuse to be caught off guard by the events that will reshape the global order and impact every single one of your lives, hit that subscribe button right now. Ring the notification bell, because by the end of this broadcast, you're going to understand exactly what Iran just unleashed, why Iron Dome failed so catastrophically, what the extreme beam bomb really is, and what this means for America, for our troops in the Middle East, for gas prices, for our national security, and for the future of the entire planet. Let's stop here for a single second and let the reality of what's happening right now sink in. For over a decade, we've been told that Israel's Iron Dome is the gold standard of global air defense. We've been told it boasts a 90% success rate, that it can intercept any rocket, any mortar, any short-range missile headed for Israeli civilian areas. We spent over $2.5 billion of American taxpayer dollars funding this system. We sent our best engineers, our sharpest military minds, to help Israel build and refine it. We told the world this was the impenetrable shield that would keep Israel safe, that would deter any enemy from ever launching a direct attack on Israeli soil. And tonight? It's worthless. It's useless. It's been turned into melted, twisted scrap metal by Iran's missiles, missiles that we were told Iran didn't have, missiles that our intelligence agencies claimed were decades away from being operational. Here's what we know, confirmed by on-the-ground witnesses in Tel Aviv, emergency services officials, and verified military sources across the region. The attack began just after midnight local time, when the first wave of Iranian hypersonic missiles crossed into Israeli airspace. Within seconds, air raid sirens blared across the entire country, from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, from Haifa to Beersheba. Residents raced for bomb shelters, expecting the familiar sound of Iron Dome interceptors launching to destroy the incoming threats. But that moment never came. There were no interceptors. No flashes in the sky from successful strikes. No radio updates from the IDF telling residents the danger had passed. Instead, there was only the ear-splitting roar of explosions, one after another, ripping through the heart of Tel Aviv. This wasn't a single, isolated barrage. This wasn't a handful of rockets that slipped through the defensive net. This was 50 consecutive, perfectly coordinated waves of attacks, each one carrying dozens of hypersonic missiles flying at Mach 14 to 14 times the speed of sound. Let's put that number into perspective for you, because it's almost too extreme to comprehend. Mach 14 means a missile can travel over 10,600 miles per hour. It can cover the distance from Iran's western missile bases to Tel Aviv in less than 4 minutes. That's less time than it takes most people to get out of bed and walk to a bomb shelter. That's less time than it takes for Iron Dome's radar system to even identify, lock onto, and calculate an intercept course for an incoming threat. Iron Dome was built to stop slow, low-flying rockets launched from Gaza, rockets that travel at less than Mach 1, subsonic speeds. It was never designed to stop a hypersonic missile that can turn and maneuver mid-flight, that changes its trajectory every few seconds to avoid detection, that moves so fast it creates a plasma cloud around it that makes it invisible to most radar systems. That's why Iron Dome failed tonight. That's why it's nothing more than scrap metal right now. It was outmatched. It was outgunned.
It was rendered completely obsolete by a weapon our intelligence agency swore Iran was decades away from building.
And it wasn't just Iron Dome that failed.
Every single layer of Israel's multi-tiered air defense network was overwhelmed and neutralized tonight. The David Sling system, designed to intercept medium-range ballistic missiles? Useless. The Arrow 2 and Arrow 3 systems, our joint project with Israel built specifically to stop long-range ballistic missiles? They couldn't even lock onto the incoming hypersonic threats. Every layer of defense that we've helped Israel build over the last 20 years, every single system that we've spent billions of dollars on, failed so catastrophically tonight that it's redefining everything we thought we knew about modern warfare. And it gets worse. So much worse.
Because Iran wasn't just using 14 Mach hypersonic missiles to punch holes in Israel's air defenses. They were using these staggeringly fast missiles to deliver a never-before-seen weapon that the entire world is now scrambling to understand, the so-called extreme beam bomb.
According to verified reports from the scene, these missiles aren't carrying conventional high-explosive warheads.
They're carrying a directed energy warhead that detonates a few hundred feet above the target, releasing a superheated, high-pressure beam of plasma that incinerates everything in its path.
It doesn't just blow up buildings. It melts steel.
It vaporizes reinforced concrete. It sets entire city blocks ablaze with a single detonation. It can tunnel through underground bunkers, through 10 feet of reinforced concrete, through the thickest military armor, without losing even a fraction of its destructive power.
This isn't a thermobaric bomb. This isn't a cluster munition. This is a weapon unlike anything we've ever seen deployed on the battlefield before.
It's a weapon that can carry out what Iran is calling indiscriminate area-wide cleansing, what the rest of the world calls unrestricted, unlimited total warfare.
There's no defense against it. There's no way to stop it.
Even if you could intercept the missile carrying it, if you hit the warhead, it would detonate in the atmosphere above the intercept point, still releasing its deadly beam and destroying everything below it. Tonight, this weapon has been used to strike IDF command posts, air defense batteries, military bases, government buildings, even critical transportation infrastructure across Tel Aviv.
Highways have been vaporized. Power grids have been completely destroyed. Water pumping stations have been rendered unusable.
The entire city of Tel Aviv is now without power, without running water, without reliable access to emergency services, as one surge of explosions follows another. If you're just joining us right now, we're breaking down the unprecedented, earth-shattering attacks on Israel unfolding in real time, attacks that have exposed a fatal flaw in our military technology that could put every single American in immediate danger. If you don't want to miss a single update, a single critical detail, a single piece of unfiltered analysis that the mainstream media refuses to cover, hit your subscribe button right now. We will be here live, around the clock, as every new development breaks, and you won't get this honesty, this depth, this urgency anywhere else on this platform. Let's talk about the sheer scale of this attack, because it's almost too big to fathom.
50 waves of strikes. Each wave carrying between 30 and 50 hypersonic missiles. That's between 1,500 and 2,500 missiles launched at Israel in a single night.
Every layer of Israel's military infrastructure has been targeted.
Every major city has been hit.
The IDF has confirmed that dozens of military sites have been completely destroyed, that multiple air bases have been rendered unusable, that its central command structure has been severely disrupted by the ongoing barrage. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has disappeared into an underground nuclear bunker, holding an emergency Security Council meeting with his top military advisors, but has yet to release a public statement, has yet to address the nation, has yet to give the world any indication of how Israel plans to retaliate for tonight's unprecedented assault.
And that's the part that should terrify every single person listening. For 75 years, Israel has been the undisputed military superpower in the Middle East.
It has the most advanced air force in the region, the most sophisticated intelligence agencies, the most impenetrable defenses, all backed by the unlimited military and economic support of the United States of America. For 75 years, Israel has launched preemptive strikes against its enemies, has destroyed nuclear facilities in Iraq and Syria, has carried out countless assassinations of Iranian military leaders and nuclear scientists, all without fear of a full-scale, direct retaliation on its own soil. For 75 years, we've been told that Iran would never dare to launch a direct attack on Israel, because it would mean total war, because it would mean the destruction of the Iranian regime, because Iran was too weak, too divided, too technologically backward to take on the Israeli military and its American backers.
Tonight, all of that has been turned on its head.
Tonight, Iran did the unthinkable.
They launched a direct, full-scale assault on the heart of Israel, the most heavily defended country on the planet, and they did it with total impunity. They struck Tel Aviv, the economic and cultural heart of Israel, and Israel's defenses could do absolutely nothing to stop it. They launched 50 waves of strikes, and Israel couldn't shoot down a single missile.
They unleashed a weapon the world has never seen before, and we have no idea how to defend against it. The entire world is watching this unfold in real time, and the entire world is reeling, because every assumption we had about the balance of power in the Middle East, about the strength of our military technology, about the deterrence we've built up over decades, has just been shattered into a million pieces.
So the question on everyone's lips right now is, how did we get here?
How did Iran, hobbled by years of crippling US sanctions, isolated from the global community, constantly targeted by Israeli military strikes and covert assassinations, build a weapon this advanced?
How did they develop a 14 Mach hypersonic missile that outmatches anything currently in our arsenal? How did they create a directed energy warhead that our military scientists have only dreamed of in lab tests? How did they do all of this right under our noses, without our intelligence agencies, without the CIA, without the Mossad, having even the faintest clue what they were planning? This is the single biggest intelligence failure since the attack on Pearl Harbor.
This is the biggest military surprise since 9/11. For years, we've been laughing at Iran's military parades, mocking their antiquated tanks and aircraft, dismissing their missile program as a joke, claiming that their hypersonic weapons announcements were nothing more than propaganda, empty boasts from a regime trying to hold on to power at home. We told ourselves that Iran was decades behind us, that they could never develop technology this advanced without direct help from Russia or China, that they would never dare to use these weapons even if they had them.
We were wrong.
We were so wrong it could cost us the entire global order we've built over the last 75 years. The truth is, Iran has been hiding its true military power for years. They've been investing billions of dollars into their missile program, into their hypersonic research, into directed energy weapons, even as our economic sanctions were crushing their civilian economy. They didn't need Russia or China to teach them how to build these weapons. They developed them on their own, in underground facilities so deep, so well hidden, even the most advanced of our spy satellites couldn't see them. They used our sanctions as an excuse to become fully self-sufficient, to develop their own technology, their own supply chains, their own military-industrial complex that doesn't depend on anyone else in the world. And tonight, they unleashed all of it on Israel, to show the world exactly what they're capable of, to show the world that they're not the weak, isolated regime we've made them out to be. They're a military superpower, and they're here to change the rules of the game forever. Now let's talk about what this means for us, for America, for every single one of you listening to this right now, because you might be thinking this is a war halfway across the world, between Iran and Israel, and it has nothing to do with you.
You couldn't be more wrong.
This event will impact every single one of you, directly, starting tomorrow morning, in your wallet, at your gas station, in your job, in your personal safety and security. First, let's talk about gas prices and the global oil market. The Middle East is the beating heart of the global oil trade. The Strait of Hormuz, controlled directly by Iran, carries 30% of the world's seaborne oil every single day. For weeks, we've been warning that any major conflict in the region could send oil prices skyrocketing, and tonight, that conflict has exploded into full-scale war. Within minutes of the first missile striking Tel Aviv, oil prices spiked in overnight trading, up over 12% in just 2 hours, and that's just the very beginning. If this war enlarges, if Iran closes the Strait of Hormuz, if Israel retaliates with massive strikes on Iranian oil fields, we could see oil prices hitting $200, $250 a barrel by the end of the week. That means gas prices of $7, $8, even $10 a gallon at your local gas station. That means everything you buy will get more expensive: groceries, clothing, electronics, every single product that's transported by truck, ship, or plane will see a massive price hike. That means the inflation we've been fighting to get under control for the last 2 years will come back with a vengeance. That means the Federal Reserve will be forced to raise interest rates again, which will crash the housing market, make car loans and credit card payments even more expensive, and could push the entire US economy into a full-scale, devastating recession. But it gets worse than higher gas prices and a hit to your wallet. Let's talk about our national security, about our troops stationed in the Middle East right now. Right now, there are over 30,000 American service members stationed in bases across the Middle East, in Iraq, Syria, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia. For years, Iran has warned that if Israel attacks them, or if the US intervenes in their conflict with Israel, they will target American bases and American troops across the region. Tonight, Iran has already shown that they have missiles that can reach any of those bases, missiles that travel at 14 Mach, missiles that our Patriot and THAAD air defense systems can't stop, just like Iron Dome couldn't stop them tonight. Our troops are now sitting ducks. They're in the crosshairs of a military power that just showed the world it can strike anywhere, anytime, with total impunity, without any way to defend against it. And let's talk about our global standing, our credibility as a nation. For 75 years, we've been the guarantee of security for our allies across the globe. We've told our allies that if they stand with us, we will protect them, that our military power, our defense technology, our deterrence will keep them safe. Tonight, our closest ally in the Middle East, Israel, was attacked with a weapon we can't stop, with missiles we can't intercept, and we could do absolutely nothing to help it. Every single one of our allies across the globe is watching this right now. Taiwan, South Korea, Japan, our NATO allies in Europe. They're asking themselves, if the US can't even protect Israel from an Iranian missile attack, how can they protect us from China? From Russia? From North Korea? Our credibility as a nation, as a global superpower, as the leader of the free world, has been shattered tonight, just like Iron Dome. So what do we do now? What does the United States do in this impossible situation? We're faced with a no-win scenario that could lead us down the path to full-scale world war. On the one hand, we have to stand with Israel, our closest ally in the region, our most trusted partner, our friend that was just attacked with unprecedented brutality. If we don't step in, if we don't help Israel retaliate, if we don't back them up, every ally we have across the globe will abandon us, our credibility will be gone forever, and Iran will be emboldened to launch even more attacks, even against our own soil and our own troops. On the other hand, if we do intervene, if we launch our own strikes against Iran, if we enter this war, we will be dragged into a full-scale conflict in the Middle East that we can't win, against an enemy that has weapons we can't stop, that has been preparing for this war for decades. We will lose countless American soldiers. We will crash our own economy. We will trigger a global war that could draw in Russia and China, threatening the entire planet with nuclear annihilation. That's the box we're in right now. That's the impossible position our leadership is faced with tonight. And as we speak, there's complete radio silence from the White House. No statement. No press briefing. No actionable plan. Just silence, while the Middle East burns, while our allies are under attack, while our troops are in mortal danger, while the world teeters on the brink of world war. Now let's talk about what comes next, about the three scenarios that could unfold in the next 48 hours, all of them catastrophic, all of them with massive, irreversible consequences for America and for the entire world. The first scenario, and the absolute worst case, is the immediate escalation into full-scale regional war, and even global world war. Israel launches a massive retaliatory strike against Iran, using its air force to bomb Iranian missile bases, nuclear facilities, and military installations across the entire country, potentially even deploying tactical nuclear weapons to stop Iran's hypersonic missile program once and for all. Iran responds by launching even more devastating waves of strikes against Israel, activating its proxy forces across the region. Hezbollah in Lebanon launches tens of thousands of rockets at northern Israel, Hamas in Gaza renews its attacks, the Houthis in Yemen step up their strikes on shipping in the Red Sea, and Iranian-backed militias in Iraq and Syria launch full-scale assaults on American military bases. The United States is dragged into the war, forced to defend its troops and its ally Israel, launching its own strikes against Iranian military targets. Russia and China, who both have strong diplomatic, economic, and military ties with Iran, warn the US to stand down, threatening to intervene if the conflict continues to escalate. What started as a single night of missile strikes on Tel Aviv turns into a full-scale global war, a war that could end in nuclear disaster.
The second scenario is a delayed, limited retaliation from Israel, pressured by the United States to avoid full-scale war at all costs. The Biden administration begs Netanyahu to hold off on a massive strike on Iran, to give diplomacy a chance, to work with the international community to impose even harsher sanctions on Iran and de-escalate the conflict before it spirals out of control. Israel agrees, but only if the US provides them with more advanced weapons, more military support, more ironclad guarantees of future protection. Iran agrees to a temporary ceasefire, but only if Israel promises to stop all future strikes on Iranian territory and Iranian personnel. The conflict is put on hold, but the damage is already done. Iran has shown it can attack Israel with total impunity, our defense technology has been exposed as obsolete, our allies have lost faith in us, and the threat of another attack looms large every single day. This is the most likely scenario, but it's not a solution. It's just a delay of the inevitable, because Iran has already shown its hand, it already knows our weaknesses, and it will strike again when we least expect it. The third scenario is the most unthinkable, the complete destabilization of Israel, and the total collapse of US influence in the Middle East. Israel is reeling from the attack, its military infrastructure crippled, its economy in free fall, its population terrified and demoralized. Iran continues to launch waves of strikes, refusing to back down, refusing to negotiate, until Israel agrees to all of its long-standing demands, an end to Israeli occupation of the West Bank, an end to the siege of Gaza, an end to all Israeli military action against Iran and its proxies across the region. The United States tries to intervene, but Iran threatens to launch strikes on American bases across the Middle East if the US gets involved. Our allies across the region, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Bahrain, all abandon the US, fearing Iran's overwhelming military power, and turn to Iran and China for security guarantees. The US loses its last foothold in the Middle East, its global power is irreparably collapsed, and Israel is left to fend for itself against an enemy that just showed it can destroy it with total impunity. No matter which scenario plays out, tonight has changed the world forever. The balance of power in the Middle East has been shattered beyond repair. Our military technological supremacy has been called into question. Our global credibility has been permanently damaged. And the threat of world war has never been closer than it is right now. If you're still with us, if you want to stay informed on every new development, every update to this breaking crisis, every piece of unfiltered analysis that the mainstream media is too scared to tell you, hit that subscribe button right now. Ring the notification bell, because the next 48 hours will be the most critical in modern history, and we will be here live, around the clock, bringing you every update as it happens. We won't censor. We won't spin. We won't hide from the hard truths, no matter how scary they are. At the end of the day, what we're watching tonight isn't just a war between Iran and Israel. It's a battle for the future of the global order. It's a battle between a world where the United States and its allies defend freedom and security, and a world where rogue nations like Iran can launch unprovoked attacks on civilians, can unleash weapons of unprecedented destructive power, can threaten the entire globe with war, without any consequences. It's a battle that will define our generation, that will affect every single one of us, whether we like it or not. The night is still young. The missiles are still flying. The world is holding its breath. And the story is only just beginning.